Hello everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to the final part of the main game of Donkey Kong Country 2. The lost levels were last time we 100%ed K. Rool's Keep, and this time we are going to be doing the Flying Krock in its entirety, and beating the final boss. And then after this, all we have left is the Lost World. The level we are going to be dealing with today is Hopeless Heaven. And I realize now that just after entering this level, I had totally meant to build up some lives before coming here, because as you can see, it is impossible to escape now until after we beat this level. So I guess 5 lives, do or die, sink or swim. Oh wow, that was not my plan, but here we go. Especially considering this is definitely one of the most difficult and longest levels of the game. We're going to be dealing with like tires and stuff, a whole bunch of tricky jumps. Yeah, I really would have appreciated those extra lives, but maybe this will be a little bit of, redemption from last time where I was just dying all over the place. Let's do our best. And we have these Klingon guys, and I think we need to be careful whenever we're climbing up a vine or a rope like this, that we don't get hit, but see, we need to make all sorts of weird, awkward jumps here. I think that we can actually do a bit of a shortcut if we throw Diddy up here, but I do not want to skip that much level. Actually, it's not a significant skip, but since it's our first time through, we will show everything. There's one of the times where you have to bounce on one of those guys, and if you mess up, he doesn't come back, so you're kind of stuck, I suppose, which is not super great. One thing that is really important to note that I never knew for the longest time is that you can actually touch flat brambles from the bottom without any kind of repercussions. And that is super important to know in this level, just because of how often you'll be dealing with tight spaces. Anyway, so to the left here is, I think, where that shortcut that we just did took us. And we're even going to be dealing with hot air balloons in this level, and as you saw, there's tires and stuff. This level definitely kind of takes, all the things we've learned throughout the duration of this hack, all of these elements like tires and hot air balloons, which are normally only found in a single level, and just really chalks up the amount that they are used to 110. Which is good, because that is what a ROM hack should be all about. Anyway, here we have more awkward jumps. These ones that are exactly the height that you can jump are just not comfortable in the slightest. But thankfully, we are using Dixie, who is making this a little bit easier. This level is not fun if you somehow lose Dixie and only have Diddy. There's the DK coin, but I think we actually need to get that from the other side, so we're not going to worry about it too much. Yes, I remember this jump. If you only have Diddy, it is almost impossible to make this jump. You can do it if you time yourself perfectly and make the perfect arc, but otherwise your chance of failure without extensive practice is very high. But like I said, don't want to climb too quickly, so I just know we're accidentally gonna run into one of those guys at some point. I think we could go to the right, but I think the left. Yes, we need to get Squitter here. And this level is normally Screech's Sprint, where you turn into Squawks for the second half of the level. The first half is a very average Brambles level, where the second half, again, you need to transform into Squawks, and it's all about that race you need to win against Screech. But in this level, instead, I guess they changed that Animal Buddy barrel into a Squitter barrel. So we have all sorts of web shenanigans going on here, including, inside of those tight spaces, as I was mentioning. So if you touch the bottom corner of a bramble, you will take damage. But as I said, you can touch the bottom of the flat sections all day long, and you will not get hurt. So it's kind of essential that you figure that out for this portion. Just like in Bramble Scramble in the original game, how you kind of have to figure out that if you touch the bottom of the brambles, or rather the top of the brambles, or the bottom of your characters touch the brambles while you are holding on to Squawks, you do not take damage. There's just kind of something that you have to learn about here, is that it is totally okay to touch those flat parts. Also, I'm not sure what determines, sometimes the webs stick around forever, and sometimes when you make them, they disappear really quickly. It seems to be that it doesn't want you to have more than 2 on screen at once. Although I feel like sometimes that rule doesn't apply, and they'll disappear even if you're not shooting a new one. But anyway, according to what we saw earlier, we can go down here and find the DK coin. It's definitely not super well hidden. I feel like if they didn't, kind of show you the hint of where it was, it would be a little bit trickier to realize that you could come down here and find it. But it seems like the level kind of just wanted to give it to us, so I guess I won't complain too much about that. Overall, though, mentioning things about Squawks, or rather Screech's Sprint, which is the normal kind of theme that this level goes with, there's definitely quite a few things that the original game does that this hack did not include, including the race with Screech. And I should add the asterisk, as far as I know. because I have not played all of the Lost World levels, so we will definitely be, kind of discovering those for the first time together, unlike, most of this hack, which I kind of remember, but not really. It's not like the original trilogy where, I know it like the back of my hand. It's definitely still a lot more foreign to me than, any of the original 3 Donkey Kong Country games. But yeah, so the hack creator, again, asterisk, because I don't know about all of the Lost World levels. Maybe we'll see something happening in there. Whoa, you are just not fun to have to deal with there, Mr. Red Zinger. Like, can I stand here and not... Okay, so, see, okay. And see, that is just kind of weird how those webs worked. So yeah, there's no race. There's no kind of lava gimmick like in Lava Lagoon, where when you jump on the seal, the lava turned from lava to water, and then, it would turn back into lava after a set amount of time. Whoa, you just kind of were doing some weird spawning thing there. I'm not exactly sure how I was supposed to safely get across that. Also, it's very scary, just navigating through these passages. Sometimes you just don't know if you are touching the brambles or not, which is very not a fun feeling. So yeah, that's another gimmick that they never did. What's another gimmick that I can think of? Oh, like Glimmer's Galleon, they never used the kind of, darkness gimmick that's in there. They did use the Toxic Tower gimmick, except it turned into, frozen water instead. Just for whatever reason, the Kongs could not deal with the cold water that day. But of course, I mean, that's the point of ROM hacks. It doesn't have to use absolutely every single element that the original games did. And of course, I mean, they introduced their own kind of elements as well, such as repurposing. Wow, did we actually make it all the way to the end of this in one try? Okay, although I'm still very scared. Like, this is totally a blind jump. Like, they repurposed the targets from Target Terror into the level Deep Dangerous Doors, which I thought was actually a very cool use of them, when it is not breaking your game. Anyway, I don't like this jump, but at least we have Dixie! Oh my gosh! Heart attack. Heart attack. I totally shouldn't have lived through that one. No! I could swear that the floating ability wasn't working. Oh, heart attacks all around. I mean, I think that's right before the midway point as well. Oh, I cannot believe I made it through all of that on my first try. Thankfully, we did pick up a 1-up though, so I mean, there was not really any loss from that, as long as we can make it back in one more go. So let's do that now. And this time we can totally use the shortcut, because we're not worried about anything. I don't even think you actually need this balloon. If you understand what is going on here, I think you can just... What did I discover? If you fall right here, you can go all the way to the bottom without taking any damage. And I don't know why, but I could just swear that I'm pressing the correct buttons to kind of do the floating thing. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about in jumps that I do not like. And particularly this one with Diddy. Can we pull it off? Without Dixie? Ugh! Okay. Thankfully, if you mess up, as long as you don't go flying, you do get a kind of redemption chance here. Ugh! Okay. Alright, so that was the whole point of me dying and replaying this part of the level, so you could see my Diddy skills. Anyway, let's do our best to get back to that part that we were at without any more deaths, although now we only have one hit because, in typical Donkey Kong Country 2 The Lost Levels fashion, there are just no DK barrels to be found. Hooray! So that's what I'm talking about. Even if you just barely clip the corner of a thing like that, you do have the potential to die, unfortunately. So it's okay. I didn't have both hits anyway, and I definitely think I'm gonna need one of them for that red zinger part. So we'll try that one more time. I love the just giant spikes floating in air. Also, see, why did that one I was standing on almost disappear? When it's not like it seemed like there was really much of a reason for it. The only reason to go over to the right, I wonder if you could go down there and pull off some kind of shenanigans. I want the O, because if we get to a point in the level where we can just constantly keep getting the G and getting a 1-up, I will be very happy though that we had all of the Kong letters in that case. Also, we could be trying that trick that I showed off in one of the earlier parts where you kind of, do a thing like that and instantly jump onto the web, but it is just too risky for my liking at the moment. Where do you even come from, guy? I'm not sure how I'm supposed to avoid you. I do not like the positioning of that zinger. I also don't like how he kind of just spawns out of nowhere here. Yeah, see? How am I supposed to deal with something that, does a thing like that? But I think we actually managed to get by it, despite not having that hit. Alright. Okay, so see, we're totally clipping through the brambles in this case. Not too big of a deal, though. I'm also totally out of breath. It's oh man, this is just the most stressful thing I've done in a while. But I like that kind of feeling, you know, of like, people I think sometimes question, you know, what is the point of video games still having like a life counter and stuff? But when you're on kind of the edge of, you know, maybe you're getting a game over or something like that, it just motivates you to play, you know, so much better, and really gives you a sense of urgency that, I mean, you just don't get in the game, where it's like, okay, I can die and as many times as I want and I'll respawn, you know, like right beside where I died, and no big deal, right? But I think it is just kind of so cool to, you know, to have those moments of exhilaration where it's like, you know, I need to keep, you know, I need to keep playing well because I'm not at the checkpoint yet, or, you know, something of that nature. I think that just adds so much to the gaming experience. It's almost like, you know, the equivalent of being on a roller coaster, just that thrill that you get, but instead in video game form, where if you have infinite lives, there's just no sense of, you know, anything that you're doing really mattering, because there's no consequence, and I cannot say I particularly enjoy my gaming in that fashion. I would say the last game I probably played that was like that was Celeste, the indie game, which is a really fantastic game, although I won't deny that because you have infinite lives, and because there's almost no consequence to dying, with, you know, almost starting exactly where you died each time, it did definitely make me play, well, what am I even doing here, a little bit sloppier. Where, you know, like, I'll beat a level or something and it'll be like, oh, you died 100 times, and I'm like, but yeah, but, you know, like 50 of those was because I realized there was absolutely no consequence to me playing poorly. Where if I, you know, had motivation to try, I probably would have played a lot better, and maybe had a little bit more fun, but I understand that Celeste is all about, like, experimentation as well. Like, what are we even doing here? These tires are just all sorts of awkward. Okay. Okay, so, you know, enough about Celeste. This is not Celeste. Okay, so we're gonna bounce, 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 grab, and then we have these guys. So I love just all the different kind of elements that are used in, like, a single level in the original Donkey Kong Country 2. All sort of coming together in the smorgasbord of danger in our face. And the problem is that just nothing kind of gives you any time to react. Okay, yeah, you have to remember at that part that you can bounce like that. Like, you know, you have no time to react when you're hanging onto a hot air balloon. You have no time to react when you're hanging onto the ghost ropes. You have no time to react when you're inside these countdown barrels. Everything is just like, you better understand what is happening or else. And there's not even any bananas to kind of guide us this time, but I think you gotta do a thing where you go around here. And if you gotta cut it really close. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I think if we climb up here, we want to go that direction. I think we could see a bit of a bonus barrel over here. So I think that's where we want to head back to. Also, watch out for the clinger guys. Okay, so I think we want to jump to the right. Like this. You will not be taking any of my 1-ups today. Thank you very much. And if we fall down here, there we go. We almost have a 1-up from bananas. Okay, this is going better than I was expecting it to, especially since I did not, you know, accumulate any of those 1-ups beforehand. I gotta collect all the stars though. 40 seconds, not too bad. Hopefully this is one of those bonus games where, you know, they give you more time than you need. Also, I don't see any enemies around, although I'm totally expecting one of them to, you know, jump out when you least expect it. I would totally not put it past this game to do that, where, you know, it tricks you into thinking that you have this false sense of security. Meanwhile, you know, suddenly, when you're least expecting it, an enemy will jump out of absolutely nowhere. But alright, there we go, we found them all. Now, where was the opening in this kind of bramble? So we gotta go here. And where is the coin now? Is it on this upper level? Yes, it is! And that is the final bonus game for a bonus token in the entire game. All 74 of them, with the 75th one, I think we want to go to the left now, being from Rool himself. That's kind of a cool way to, you know, lock you out of the ending of the game by making the, you know, the not true final boss give you a bonus token that you need in order to access all of the levels. Pretty clever, if I do not say so myself. Okay, where am I going here? The camera is not in any way helping me. We are up to 6 lives. I cannot say I'm, you know, too upset about that. Okay. Alright, so hopefully getting off that balloon is an okay thing. There is a, I don't like these guys. Especially when, you know, they're not coming at me, so I can't even prepare. Why is there a banana up in that thing? I wonder what is going on with that. Okay, and also, alright. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. This is very scary. Hopefully, I'm supposed to go down here. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. I guess we're supposed to go up. Okay. Not sure how I would have done that. If that was like kind of like a one-try thing, or if I didn't get that, then I would have been totally toast. Let's go into this barrel. Oh my gosh! It's another one of those situations where, you know, you have to be prepared to bounce on one of those guys. I found that there have been a few times in this game where after being shot from a cannon barrel... Oh. Whoa, why? I was sure that I landed on that. Oh. Man, the length of this level is pretty massive. But yeah, there's the exclamation mark and the DK coin. But yeah, it seems like there's a few times in this hack where the creator likes to make it so that when you're shot out of a cannon, you then hit an enemy and bounce and need to react to that, which is not totally fun. How many lives do we have, though? Like 5 lives. But see, if I had infinite lives now, I could just be totally sloppy, fooling around, not worrying too much. And I feel like that's kind of part of the problem I had in the last part, where because there was no danger of me getting game over, I was able to play... While not, exerting the best of my abilities, similar to what I just demonstrated right here. This is very scary. I do not want to, lose any more lives due to silly mistakes. That is a lot of level to have to replay, though. Okay, okay. So silly mistakes, Andrew. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, bounce, bounce. Okay, so doing this without Dixie now is totally not my idea of a fun day. You just gotta, be very careful in all these tight spaces. I'm not sure why when I played the original Donkey Kong Country 2 I never realized that you could, kind of touch the bottoms of brambles like that without taking damage. I feel like it's because you're not too often confined to extremely tight spaces with brambles in the original game. Where, it makes a lot more sense, a ROM hacker would totally be up for doing that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just totally, was too cautious when I played the original. Not entirely sure, but okay, so let's see. You gotta do a really awkward thing like this time. Ugh! Wow! Okay, wow. So if we climb up here... There's no DK barrel around here, is there? Okay, there's bananas. Bananas are nice. Bananas equal extra lives make me happy. All is good. How do you time this? This is ridiculous. So next time you go down, I'm gonna... Okay, well, I tried to let go. And it did not seem to work, which was probably a good thing, but I don't think my timing was very good. Okay. Okay. So I think then, okay, so to the left here, back to where we were before, except this time without Dixie. Can't say that gives me a whole lot of confidence, but we'll make do with what we have. Let's fit through these brambles here. Okay. And again, I've mentioned this before, but it's just so nice having this kind of calm music going on, while also dealing with extremely scary level design. But anyway. Yeah, I do not like the camera not showing what is coming at me. And then we have a tire that comes from this direction, but do we even need that for anything? I feel like it's kind of just there to destroy you. I guess if you killed this guy by accident, it could help you bounce up here, but would you even be able to get back to the point where it helps it, where it spawns? I'm not so sure about that. Okay, so you jump through here, you go here, you land on this balloon, and you need to then make a transfer to a tire. And it sounds like I'm talking about Tony Hawk tricks here. You gotta make a transfer to, a 900 and... No. Yeah, that was just all kinds of weird. Dixie definitely would have helped in that situation. Thankfully, we're doing well with lives, though. We're kind of, we keep building them up, which is nice. The reason I kind of made some mistakes at this part here with the balloon, though, is because... if you don't jump on it when it's almost at its highest, you're not going to have the height required to transfer to this balloon. Like, do I even have enough height now? Yes, I do. So, like, that transfer is very scary. Again, it sounds like I'm talking about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which are fantastic games, by the way. Also, the best way to deal with these guys is definitely to kind of jump on them before you grab onto the vine. So always do that if you can, but since Diddy is in front this time, at least if we take a hit, we will have Dixie for the later part of the level, which is very nice. That does not look okay. Okay, it is now looking correct. That is just all kinds of weird. Whoa, okay. Things just coming at you from every direction. This part's just so tricky. The timing is just so awkward. Like, okay, so like, I think the next time I should go. Okay, yes! It's just, again, one of those situations where, because lives are just so important, I do not want to do anything silly. We definitely do not want to, get into the danger zone. But hopefully, I think we're once again back to kind of the part that's been giving us trouble. It's always that one balloon that we then need to use to get to the tire. And then also any kind of neckies that come swooping at you are not a fun time to have to deal with. I was not at all ready to deal, to... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, If you want to come at me, that would be nice. Thank you. Again, not sure why that one single banana is floating there. Okay, okay. Get over you. You're not important. We need you to bounce up into here to shoot ourselves into here. Okay. Okay, so then we're going to bounce on a dude. And this is where trouble always happens. We're about to get to this point here with these neckies. Okay, so that's how we do that. Let's not get hit by that. Alright, new territory here. We need to do some crazy bouncing shenanigans. An extra life from the Kong letters. Thank you very much. I do like that. And here, transfer to here. That's not the end yet. Oh my gosh, I almost messed up that jump. That was such a scary jump. You are going to be a bad guy, aren't you? Yes, you are. This has to be getting close to the end. Like, we are so close. I can just feel it. Okay, another necky. Is there a trans? Okay, so there's a dude. And... oh my gosh, yes! Yes! And you know, I like how after you beat the level, it's totally okay to stand on the brambles. There you go! Awesome! And we also, I think, even have enough coins to pay our good friend Funky Kong here. And if we really wanted to, we could now go back and stock up on as many lives as we want. That's cool that it gives you the exclamation mark for the world. Even though technically we haven't beaten the boss. So, I mean, we don't have all of the bonus coins that are here for us to collect. But the way that we're going to be finishing off this video is with Rool Duel, the final boss of the main game, and the only thing now blocking us from taking on all of the Lost World levels. Unfortunately, though, I do not believe that the final boss is changed too much over what it is in the original game. So if you have played the original Donkey Kong Country 2, or you have watched my original Donkey Kong Country 2 Let's Play, you have probably seen most of this. Okay, but I mean, it's been a while since I've fought this boss myself, so expect shenanigans to ensue. Again, I have mentioned multiple times throughout this hack that there must be some reason that, maybe editing boss fights is not such an easy thing to do, or it causes glitches or something, because it's not something that the hack creator did at all. Meanwhile, you would expect that in a ROM hack, that's something that they would probably want to do, make things more difficult. Hopefully, I think after 3 hits, though, we get a DK barrel back, as I would greatly appreciate that. Yeah, that makes this fight actually extremely easy, because, I mean, you can only, you can afford to take 1 hit for every kind of 3 segments of the fight, which is much appreciated. Can we duck under those? Yes, we can. Overall, though, I just have had so much fun with this hack, and I hope that everyone has really enjoyed it. I mean, I have seen in the comments and such that, people really have been enjoying it up to the point that I've played so far, so thank you so much to all of the loyal viewers who have been watching this. Otherwise, I guess I'm not, commenting too much particularly on the boss, because it's something I already did in one of my other Let's Plays. One thing that people did mention, though, is that in the GBA remake of Donkey Kong Country 2, there is actually a boss at the end of Rool's Keep, other than, just the kind of weird cinematic thing that you get in the original game. And I do definitely plan to make a video on that at some point. So for all of you boss fanatics out there, hope that you are looking forward to that. That will probably happen after this Let's Play concludes. Anyway, this boss, I remember giving me quite the trouble as a kid, but once you understand what's going on, it's actually fairly decent to deal with. I always kind of mention, though, that it doesn't feel like the most effort was put into the boss fights of the first 2 Donkey Kong Country games. I mean, the first one, you literally just get a whole bunch of bosses that, like, kind of repeat with palette swaps. And then in this game, they're a little bit more advanced, but overall, I mean, their patterns are very basic. You get things like, like the King Zinger and stuff, which is literally just like, the same zinger, giant zinger sprite used from like the first game. So, but then the final 2 bosses, of this game and the first game definitely felt like that's where all the effort went. But then in the 3rd game, I feel like they really took their bosses seriously. And I mean, they all, oh no! No! Oh no! That was just poor playing, Andrew. Anyway, you get what I was trying to say. They took their bosses way more seriously in the first game. And the rest is history, where they're not just kind of, like palette swaps and such. And I think that's pretty neat. Also, speaking of the 3rd game, and differences from the GBA version. Okay, how do you even do this one? Oh no! Okay, so controls are reversed. No big deal. Ugh. But then he's gonna do the thing where... Yes, okay. Can my brain comprehend all of this? Oh my gosh. No! I think I shouldn't have jumped. I guess that was my problem. Wow. In the original time I played this, I don't think I died, but that was just because silly shenanigans ensued. Let us do that one more time. No big deal. And that is the story of how Colonel Sanders discovered the lost city of Atlantis and decided to change his ways from instead of cooking fish to making tasty, delicious chicken products. Who would have thought that, you know, his life was just that, you know, craziness. Also, we have to deal with the purple-ing again. My grandfather actually met Colonel Sanders one time because he was a traveling salesman who, you know, traveled around and went to all sorts of trade shows and stuff. So I think it's kind of cool, you know, have those stories of Colonel Sanders' epic past. Anyway, what exactly is going on here? Since we don't have the purple thing going on, maybe we can just do this, and let's not mess up this time. Also, we gotta deal with the final shot. That's always so suspenseful. Alright, final boss down. Final bonus coin collected. And DK is just going to come out here and give him a big punch to the face, but that's not the last that we'll see of K. Rool, as anyone who has played the original Donkey Kong Country 2 would know. And there he goes into the sledge at the bottom of his island. Oh man, Donkey Kong Country 2 is just such a fantastic game. I love it. I love this hack, and it really is awesome that, you know, we still have 5 levels and a boss to go. So the plan from here is that, again, there'll probably be 3 more parts with 2 levels per part, with the last part being 1 level plus the true final boss. Again, I don't know if maybe the true final boss has been changed at all. That would be awesome. Unless, of course, there is kind of something there, you know, preventing the bosses from being edited in some kind of way. Who knows? Overall, though, I have to say, I'm so impressed with kind of just the gimmicks that have been inserted into this hack. The new enemies have been so fantastic to deal with it. I mean, having, you know, rearranged levels and such is one thing, but inserting new enemies and then taking elements from the main game, such as, you know, the targets from Target Terror, and rearranging them into something such as Deep Dangerous Doors, that is just so creative. And the fact that this is like one of the only real complete Donkey Kong Country, you know, hacks out there, for it to be so in-depth and detailed is just really impressive. Anyway, we know Cranky. We have seen all of this before. Sonic and Earthworm Jim are just not allowed. Earthworm Jim is just such a random reference too. I mean, I feel like he definitely isn't as popular as any of the other characters that are referenced here. Maybe back in the day. Although, I mean, especially these days, I feel it's very rare to find people talking about Earthworm Jim. He just kind of disappeared into oblivion like everyone else's favorite, you know, characters such as Bubsy. Who could forget the great and wonderful Bubsy? So, now buzz off and go play some Bubsy 3D. Sounds good. Overall, though, I'm really impressed with how this kind of last part went. We died at the boss of the game. I'm totally ashamed for that, but it's no big deal. I'm actually really happy with how the Brambles level went. So there, we have all the names that I totally often forget while playing the game, unfortunately. So I can remember them all. Click, clack. It would be really cool if they added in kind of the new enemies into this, you know, kind of character thing going on here. But I do not believe that that is the case. Of all the things that are, you know, have been edited, that would probably be one of the more difficult things to edit, the credits and such. I know that in Super Mario World hacking, you can actually edit the credits, which is pretty neat. But, you know, actually editing this sequence, I can imagine, would be much more difficult. It would have been neat if they could have added, like, you know, the different, you know, colors of zingers and stuff that the hack creator added in. So what was my favorite level? I really like Windy War. As much trouble as Windy War gave me, I think that it was pretty cool. Hopeless Heaven is a lot of fun. Blood Brambles is a really good level. I like all the really difficult levels. Oh yeah, another gimmick which was never used was like the wind gimmick from Windy Well in the original game. That never came back. But again, I haven't played all the Lost World levels. There are so many things that are just lost in this game. Snapjaw never appeared. Who you know, normally appears in the last rigging level of World 3, where you have to make that crazy climb while the water is rising up. I never really realized that the original game had a number of levels that were like that, where the water is rising. But yeah, so we never saw that guy. Kaboing! Totally saw a whole bunch of that guy. Clamp-On, who took the place of Claptraps in this game, which I think is good. Claptraps were just way too small in the original game, and they seemed like they were so hard to properly land on without taking a massive amount of damage. The hack creator definitely liked clobbers. They appeared all over this hack, and and will probably continue to appear even into the Lost World. Cutlass is not one of my favorite enemies to have to deal with. Cloak is a pretty strange enemy who appeared a few times. Cannon, now there is an enemy that I do not like if I have ever seen one. Krunchas is also kind of a pain, but once you realize that you can destroy them with, you know, throwing your partner at them, it makes them so much easier to deal with, because as a kid, and playing the original game, I thought the only way to... Oh yeah, Cackle never appeared in the hack. I always thought the only way to kill Krunchas was to throw, you know, an object at them, much like in the original game, where Krunchas can only really be killed with, you know, barrels and such. So I guess you can jump on them with DK too. Yeah, DK was definitely kind of OP in the original game, but he was really clunky too, which made him totally hard to deal with. And here are all those bosses I was talking about. Like, you are just, you know, a palette swap of the other guy. That's like the most low effort it can get. King Zing, also again, just kind of like an enlarged version of an already existing enemy. And then it just skips, you know, there's no boss in world, you know, like 5 or 6. And all of the animal buddies. Rambi, you are the best, allowing us to, you know, just jump and ram our way through everything. On Guard, of course, also always fantastic. I think one of the only animal buddies to appear in every game. No, Squawks does as well. Except Squawks is very different in the original game, only acting as kind of what Glimmer is in the second game. You know, making that flash of light in the dark room. Was Clapper ever in this hack? See, I don't think so. But you never know what we might see in the Lost World. And Squawks being all over the place. And there's Glimmer. Once again, sorry about that guy. Didn't get any time to shine, which I'm not sure why. There was definitely, like, you know, a water level. The water level in World 3 definitely could have been dark, and they can, you know, include Glimmer just like in the original game. I don't think there would have been any problem with that, but that's, you know, not the direction that the hack creator decided to go with. Wrinkly Kong. Man, I like the Kong family. It's so cool how they created this whole family of characters and used them in this way. I think that's so creative, and I can't think of many other games that really do that. You know, usually any kind of supporting characters, you know, they're not related or, you know, and such like that. But I really like that the Kong family, you know, it's implied that they're all related in some way, all helping each other meet a common goal, which is to destroy the crocodile race. After they totally stole all of their bananas. Anyway, now we actually get the real credits. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to attempt to skip anything. I want to see if any of this has been edited, but it doesn't look like it has been. It hasn't been, you know, like the hack creator didn't insert their name anywhere, I do not believe. Technical programmer B Gun. Sounds like it could be like the name of an enemy or something like that if they were trying to be creative. I really like kind of the trick that they pull in the first Donkey Kong Country though, where when you kill K. Rool, you think that the credits are starting to roll and then they're not. And then the fight continues. I think that's really creative. Rare was just the best company back in the day, making all of the best and most creative games. I miss them so much. And it just, I mean, Nintendo, their games are still fantastic. I mean, there's Mr. David Wise himself, one of the greatest composers, right up there with, of course, Grant Kirkhope. But like, Super Nintendo and 64 particularly were just so magical because of Rare's games. And I mean, I guess, you know, by the time they got around to the GameCube, some of their games weren't as good, such as, you know, like Dinosaur Planet, which became Star Fox Adventures, and then, you know, Grabbed by the Ghoulies and stuff. Like, if that had been a GameCube game instead of an Xbox game, I don't think it would be any more fondly remembered. I think it would still kind of be somewhat forgotten. But still, I will always have fond memories of all of Rare's works from back in the day. Look at all these people getting special thanks. Even a farmer got a special thanks. Who would have thought? Fortunately, I have run out of witty things to say about the credits, so let me tell another Colonel Sanders story. No, I actually don't have any more of those. Except, I mean, it's just, how can you top the one where he discovers the lost city of Atlantis? And original Donkey Kong creator, Miyamoto. I remember there was always the big controversy about Miyamoto thought that Donkey Kong Country 1 wasn't very good. He's like, you know, people just like it because of the graphics and not because it's actually a good game. Although I think he retracted that statement later on, unless there was something lost in translation, which would totally be a possibility, you know, to have happened. Who knows? Well, I guess only the man himself knows how he truly feels about the Donkey Kong Country series. And that is the end, question mark. So as I said, yeah, there are definitely 3 more parts to go. And I am definitely looking forward, you know, especially playing those parts of the game that I have not yet experienced myself. And in case you didn't know, it is made by Rareware. So with that said, It would have been cool if like the title screen or something changed after you beat the game. That takes us up to all 75 bonus coins, 6 hours, 55 minutes, 34 DK coins, 85%. I will see you next time as we, once again, work our way towards 100% completion. So thanks for watching, and see you later.